Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. In the first story, we'll tell you about the chef's petty revenge. In the second, we'll have a violent conflict in the parking lot against the Queen of Karens, and we'll leave the third for the most patient viewers. So before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Chef Revenge. So in my previous job, I was a chef, a commissary chef, the lowest rank there is. Not that it really mattered to me. I was there to learn and earn. My demi-chef made my life hell. Mind games, abusive, bitchy, backstabby, just had that air of being a total C-word. None of the front of the house liked her because of the fact that she never let stuff go. Her nickname is the Chihuahua. However, I always did as she asked without question. She's dyslexic and very self-conscious about it. Often when she was doing the ordering, she would ask me for correct spellings. If she'd upset me or piss me off that day, I'd give her the wrong spelling, and she'd never question me about it. I always got a laugh when people would read what she'd written up on the ordering board and point out her awful spelling with a smirk on their face and a ha-ha, who the F wrote that up? And our second story. B doesn't like to wait, has to wait a bit longer. This happened a few years back at Clearwater Beach, Florida. I'd gone mistakenly during Ironman week and parking spaces were scarce, but luckily I'd gotten one right on the front, paid for an hour, went for a run with my two dogs. On the way back, I cross over the road to go back to the car park. In Clearwater, they have a lot of those crosswalks that the traffic has to yield to. Start crossing halfway across when black Lexus SUV roars up out of nowhere, clearly breaking the speed limit, blasts on horn, middle-aged Karen starts yelling obscenities. I point to the sign of person crossing, more obscenities before B Queen speeds off. Get to my car, get the dogs in the back, and start giving them a drink while sitting in the open trunk. Notice B Queen in her Lexus waiting about 20 feet from me. I'm in a really good space right near the beach. She's obviously waiting for me to move, and I would have taken about a minute to water my mutts and drive away to give up the space, but 1 minute is too long for B Queen. I close the trunk and start to head to the car, and I hear a voice, a whiny, I'm not used to people telling me no voice. Hey, I'm waiting here. Are you going to be much longer? Okay, you see. I was going, but now, check my ticket, 10 minutes left. I'll be gone in a few, I say. Well, are you going to the beach or what? What are you doing? Is the reply. I'll be done when I'm done, I say back. B Queen speeds off with tires screeching round the car park to the attendant and starts complaining to him. Arms waving out the window, the works, clearly upset. He just shrugs his shoulders as if nothing I can do. B drives out of car park. In the meantime, another car's pulled in behind me. I signal to say I'm leaving and they can have my spot and drive away. And the sweet part is I see B driving back around into the lot only to see a fresh car parked where I was. I hope her head exploded. And our last story. Bully with more power than sense sends abusive email, admits fraud. Hey, HR. So I work for a company that contracts out to a larger Fortune 500 company. I got the job as a follow-on to a deployment engineering contract inspecting and installing equipment for the larger company about a year and a half ago. I first encountered my nemesis toward the end of my contract when I was asked to deliver a shipment of equipment to her parts cage. Hey, OP, go deliver this pallet of spare parts to Dolores, said my boss, the project manager. You got it, boss man, said our hero. And lo, spare parts were delivered to Dolores' parts cage. Dolores herself was OFO, out effing off somewhere. I took the bill of lading from the trucking company that dropped it off, put it on her desk, asked the guy behind the fence if he knew when Dolores would be back, and he said, nope, but I'll let her know you stopped by. Thanks, man. My name's OP, by the way. I'll send her an email to let her know I dropped by. True to my word, I sent off the confirmation email to Dolores' work inbox and went back to work. About 2 days later, Dolores finally noticed that I dropped off the shipment because she starts asking if I had a parts list for her. I left the BOL on your desk. That's the only list anyone gave me for you. But I can look up any parts numbers that usually come in a spare parts shipment for you if you think anything's missing. Oh, no need. I'm sure everything's here. Thanks for your help. Click. Huh? Guess Dolores doesn't really care if anything's missing. Oh well, I'll never have to deal with her again. Then I got the job offer. It was for more than I was making as a contract employee and came with benefits, so hell yeah, I took the job. I would soon be made to regret it. Part, if not all, of Dolores' job requirements are managing our billable assets, be they material, tools, equipment, and sadly our work order system that determines whether we've earned our salt. As the subject matter expert for this particular system, she's basically had carte blanche for the better part of a year to do what she pleases, and will be it unto anyone who stand in her path. For my part, I was content to let her run her little fiefdom uninhibited. Sister doing it for herself, more power to you, Dolores. Then the problem started. Since nobody reads my emails, obviously, I'm going to have to explain to you all again the proper way to blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what specific issue she started complaining about, but I did notice that everyone had a hard time hearing the signal for all the noise of her general C-wordness. This was a pattern that would follow for several months. Something would not jibe with what she felt her number should say, and it was everyone else's fault for filling out our work orders wrong. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I made mistakes when filling out work orders. I've used many different work orders and asset management systems in my time, but the in-house one at this company was very experimental and extremely temperamental. It was made clear to me by her erratic, read C-word behavior, that any perception of competence from anyone else in her sphere is seen as a major threat. When this disturbing behavior has been brought up as a source of concern by my immediate supervisor to our senior lead at our location, his answer has been a chuckle and a shrug and, well, that's just how Dolores is. Now, these guys had been working together for a good 4 months before I transferred over full-time, so they had more experience with Dolores than I did. It turns out that Dolores has the nasty habit of accusing people of bald-faced lies whenever they provide evidence of wrongdoing or even honest mistakes on her end. Dolores knows all and sees all and is not to be challenged by anyone. Dolores is law. No one is willing to stand up to Dolores because, honestly, it's never really been worth it. The closest anyone's come is when my supervisor, Steve, none of these names are real, Dolores is named after the most evil literary character of all time, obviously, brought up any inconsistency in one of Dolores' tirades, and she screamed, "Lies, lies, lies!" Steve is old school. Steve doesn't play that. Steve went straight to HR. Dolores claimed sexism and that Steve was disrespectful to her. Steve got smacked down. Dolores got cocky. Dolores has never met anyone like me. Management starts to take notice. Dolores starts to feel the heat. As the months go on, I hear more stories about the early days of Dolores' tenure. Dolores would say things like, "Oh, Company X doesn't really care if our billable hours are right. We're kind of expected to fudge the numbers." Arnie would take issue with this and bring it up to Steve. Lies, lies, lies. And besides, Arnie just doesn't like Dolores because Dolores has a vagina, obviously. Everyone not in Dolores' little clique is stupid. Okay, I'll play your silly little game. Our shift starts putting up big numbers. Management takes notice. Dolores didn't authorize our success. That can't be right. Steve and Arnie are stupid. Let's see how they like this. Work orders come down. Preventative maintenance that, didn't make it into the usual rotation suddenly starts to hit. New requirements come down in how to fill out work orders. They contradict themselves and are replaced 2 weeks later. We meet the challenge. We persevere. We rise. Dolores balks. Must be cheating. I start asking questions. Dolores doesn't like questions. I make very respectful requests for assistance or requisitions of assets to prove that Dolores spends more time OFO than actually doing her job. I devise our own work order system. Dolores doesn't like that techs can close their own work orders, but is very lazy, so she insists that we create our own. It's not my job to enter data for you. I find documentation that spells out her job. That's literally one of the first 3 bullet points. I say nothing because Dolores needs more rope. I offer assistance. Dolores starts to get angry. Management, watching closer now. Harder and harder to do our job. Dolores loses a shipment. New guys start. Dolores gives them training. Repeats, as long as my reporting matrix is green, Company X doesn't really care what the numbers say. Dolores starts leaving doors open and shares passwords with our shift, hoping someone will take the bait and compromise her system. Dolores is stupid and believes that willfully exposing our system to penetration will give her a handy way out. It's not my fault. I was hacked, is the obvious way this'll end up. All the guys on our shift agree. Trap, trap. I continue asking for/offering help, asking for data, being real nice and sympathetic, basically forcing her to either acknowledge my existence or continue to appear unprofessional by ignoring my email. I reply all to lots of her passive-aggressive emails to our team with actual solutions. I publicly ask stupid questions since we never got the correct training, still haven't. She finally snaps and responds to me directly when I point out that deviating from a specific workflow will cause certain data to be omitted from a certain data field. Dolores is livid. Dolores has been drinking. Dolores writes an absolutely scathing and threatening email telling me that a lowly tech could not possibly understand the complexities of her system and that the loophole that I found and was encouraging my coworkers to close was evidence of a conspiracy against her. Besides, I'd already obviously mastered that portion, so why then would I bring it up except to discredit her? Ha! This new system will be very big this year and she'll be very important, and she has first-hand knowledge that people have been falsifying data, and she has taken steps to hide this fact, and I better watch out because she's the one who's been keeping our facility off the radar with management. So she admits to being aware of falsified data, very possible, and admits to hiding it from our employer, and admits that she intends to continue to falsify data and strongly suggests that she can make it appear that I'm the one who's been behind it all. I blow the whistle. I email HR, I use all the right buzzwords, and immediate response. HR assures me that my employment is secure, Dolores has been under observation for some time, money has gone missing, supplies have been misplaced, an ethics probe was launched today. This evening, Steve smiled at me, shook my hand, and wished me a safe trip. I'm going on vacation with my family. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.